this activity, I decided to read about developing speaking skill in English as a foreign language course. This qualitative research, looks very interesting for me because I consider speaking English outside the classroom is a very difficult activity for teachers and learners. So I thought you can learn and we can learn together how to use strategies and techniques to used in the article. Identify the objective of the research about developing speaking skill. This research was made in Asia in an academic course course, and the findings and the method they use to find the variables on this activity. This research analyzing the teacher's role in language development and how teachers can act in different situations. I'm sorry, but I have some mistakes on my computer right now. And I can tell you this research analyzing the teacher role and the language development and how teachers act in different situations uses many strategies and techniques, and from different levels of speaking and for different mother tongue. Teachers pretend to motivate. As teachers, we have to motivate learners to encourage students to speak English outside the classrooms. It doesn't matter how many students we have, but this study found some factors which determine the issues in developing speaking experiences or speaking skills in students. Many factors may affect students negatively and taking part in speaking activity, I told you. And it determined some variables to affect the speaking skill as a large number of students per class and a social linguistic issues. Class size affects the quality of instructions, in which it should not exceed 15 for most language classes. In Colombia, we have to work about 40 students. That's terrible. I think we have to make miracles in order our students speaking English outside the classrooms. We have to encourage them all the time, and it's very difficult. In this research, the author states how quality of instruction is affected for social acceptation to how some teachers just tend to focus their teaching in grammatical structures. So, another factor that this research found is the method. Talking about the method, this research was designed as an ethnographic study. This began to collect through observation, making interviews and recording teaching experiences. Those interviews were made for to students and for teachers too. So that data was collected to obtain the variables and to know what is better, what are the better methods to improve English speaking skills in our students. On this process, people collect data, and that information was divided in some variable using the interactive model or of data analysis. These data were analyzed through 3 cyclical steps, namely data reduction, data display, and conclusion, drawing verification, as many qualitative research. And they found some steps to develop the research. The development of research was observing and recording, interviewing actors as teachers and students, transcription describing techniques and strategies in some variables, and analyzing the data collecting, classificated it, and interpretation of variables. And these factors were determined by the materials used, and it's affect the final products. So, the effective of developing speaking activities in class and outside class determine that teaching is with this research. You can notice what are the factors which affect the learner's process. Most of the experiences of the classrooms involve the teacher, but remember, we can be constructive and we can learn students develop their own process. And students' factors are main central factors that determine context variable of developing speaking skills. In that camp, they use different strategies to identify what are the factors that affect the learning strategies such as metacognitive strategies, socioaffective strategies, and communicative strategies. You know, cognitive strategies are talking about the cognitive knowledge of identification of some structures. Second, the metacognitive strategy. This strategy involves planning for learning. As teachers, we have to plan the activities we are going to develop to improve the. We have to plan, develop, and evaluate our activities all time. Make corrections and make evaluation to make feedback to our learners. That's the metacognitive strategy. The socioaffective strategy, according to Oxford, this strategy is concerned with learning. Students have to be confident to interact with others in a second language. This research made some interviews and used some teaching materials to collect their data, and the techniques and strategies to develop the speaking skill on this research show us how important as our activities that we planned before the class, as debates, conversation, dialogues. The interaction is very important because we can encourage our students to speak English in order to create an immersion environment for learners. And this all for this interesting research tables and the techniques and strategies to improve for our learners, encouraging the students to speak English outside the classroom. Thank you for your attention. I will be willing to your comments. See you next time.